My name is Corinna Harney, Playboy's Playmate of the Year, 1992.
And I'm Echo Johnson, Miss January, 1993. Welcome to the Bunny Chronicles. Let's go. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are here today with another butler from the mansion. We know how much you guys love the butlers. People love to hear what goes on inside the mansion. So real quickly, just thank you to our audience who continues to follow and support us. With that in mind, to our listening audience, if you have not, please subscribe to our YouTube channel because everything that you're listening to also has long format videos. Please subscribe, like, share, follow, all of the above. Dann Gibb is with us today. So Dann was a butler at the mansion from 2001 till 2018 and stayed on after Hef had passed. So we're going to get into that as well. Definitely want to talk about the Mopar event. That's very interesting. I didn't know anything of that. And Brian Olea has shared that with me.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. So we'll definitely get into that. First and foremost, how did you get the job of a butler in Playboy Mansion West?
Got it. Well, in a nutshell, I'm in the special event industry still today, 42 or 43 years. But I had a brief interlude in the automotive industry. And while I was in automotive aftermarket, one of my customers, actually it was one of my wife's customers, and then one of my customers sort of, was a guy named Joe Plant.
Joe, the bartender.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so at some point I said, hey, I'm in the industry and I heard you're at Playboy. If you ever need another bartender, I do all different things within that industry. And so I think he just gave me probably the patent answer he gives everybody. Sure.
Sure.
I'll get you in. And I was just thinking about doing it as a side gig. I didn't know anything about the house really. So he promised that a few times or just mentioned, yeah, if I need a bartender, if someone calls and say, So a couple of years passed and never happened, of course. And then another friend of mine from my industry did get work up there, Alan Loeb.
Oh, I love Alan so much. He's the best.
Yeah, but I don't remember how he got in. It's a big long chain. Everybody has, it's a small world, but everybody's tied together somehow. So he said, why don't you come over and work with us? We could use experienced people in the industry of just fine dining, if nothing else. Okay. And so I kind of thought, okay, you mean like a training thing to help train staff? And he said, well, a lot of the staff is there just because they know somebody and they have some heavy hitters that come in there, consulate folks and politicians or whatever. When they do their luncheons, it would help if we had some experienced people in there.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's how it happened. And then he gave me Brian Olea's number and I called Brian. He said, come on for Easter. So Easter, Big Egg Hunt was my first event there.
Easter was your first event?
Yeah.
Easter, so big. That's cool.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. The impression I got was just help the staff, do the right way.
Yeah, the right way. Do it the right way.
Yeah, I can imagine, the impression I had was, okay, so this butler may be, the head of security's nephew, and we know the nepotism or whatever it was. That's just the impression I got. So I started doing some events there, and then and that just kind of morphed into being a regular butler, and then being able to be in the house.
Okay.
Instead of just a party butler on the outside grounds,
right?
I brought me in the house. So I never left the special event industry. I'm still in it. So it was a good experience.
So when you say special event butler and versus like a butler that was in the house, so I guess the special event butlers, they were just hired for parties and events.
So for different companies, you do different things, and a lot of it's high-end events. So in other words, I've come from Oscars, Emmys, backstage, green rooms, dressing rooms, governor's balls, all things like that. So for the butlers, there's just a lot of staff that comes in just for the parties. And then there's the core staff that works inside the house. So I was kind of had a foot in both worlds. But every week I was there in the house.
Okay.
So if I was going to have a bigger event outside the house for my industry, I would just not work that day. I wasn't a full-time butler.
That's what the difference was.
Yeah. So because there's only so many full-time staff you can have, you get assigned certain days. So I had locked-in days like card night and things like that is every week, no matter what.
Oh, perfect.
And then when anything else was happening, they just go through the list of who they can to be, if it's luncheons or whatever it is. So, but I just made sure I was there every week.
So it seems like, Crysta, don't you think as well, just from everybody that we've talked to and how they ended up at the mansion, it's always from usually somebody who worked there.
Always.
There was a couple. There was like Cindy Rakowitz who saw a classifieds ad in New York.
Classified?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, and this was in the mid 90s.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a handful of people that are like, oh yeah, there was an ad. And that's always so funny to me.
An ad for me for Playmates. It said Playmates wanted, the talent scout was put an ad in the paper. So somebody, my boyfriend at the time found it and was like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, I guess
that's funny.
Well, it's not like you were going to make a whole bunch of money. So you weren't there for the money. So you're there for everything else.
That's actually a really good point.
I wasn't in charge and control or have anything to do with the events at the house. It was just the industry I came from. So when you're having an event or party, I'm just one of the butlers doing whatever Brian and the management needed. But I just had a lot of years experience in the party business.
Right.
So it was just fun. I never cashed a paycheck in all those 17 years. It all direct deposit. So I made more money outside the house than in the house, and that's why I was there part time.
Okay.
I mean, people would ask you, "Oh, you must make so much money." You're like, "No, it's just for people in my industry. It's just like a catering company."
It was just you were working at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah, I was just older and wiser compared to the young kids that were admiring the girls.
No, with the butlers.
Avert your eyes. Oh, so we're gonna have sexual harassment training at Playboy? Got it.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? That actually came up on the show I did with Eric Middleman and Farrell Hirsch about, it was like the HR department was there at a party, a holiday party. He had said something to the HR woman of like, are we going to have a problem? Because Hef was coming and there was a bunch of girls there. And Hef, as you know, does the open mouth kiss, right? So,
I never experienced it, but I've seen it.
Thankfully.
I've been behind the camera. You can't
watching it. But yeah, there was obviously, like he said, at the end of the day, it was a conservative company to work for. And there was absolute like bylaws and parameters in which you had to coexist and operate. And that shit didn't fly.
There was a lot more conservative there than people assume.
Exactly.
You'd think it would just be a raging liberal place, but it wasn't.
No, not at all. It was run just as any other big corporation would be run, for sure.
So anyway, that's how it happened. And then Brian, I think the way he put it to me is, do you want to come work in the house? And I didn't think that was a bigger deal, but I found out later, like, I think you kind of have to earn your way into the house.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
And I was older.
Trustworthy people.
Yeah. Yeah. And older. Because remember, there was rules for employees going way back to the 70s.
Mm-hmm. What were those rules?
Well, I could tell you rumors.
Okay.
A lot of the staff were gay.
Yeah, so we've been hearing. We actually heard that from Leland, that there was a lot of gay butlers,
and that had to be with a certain person's insecurities. And then, so the general rumors I would hear is 70s gay, 80s Kim with the iron fist, and then after Kim, it opened up, and then it was loose. I'm a young, good looking one, so I'm like, I'm old, I got kids, I'm married, I'm changing diapers right now.
That actually makes sense. Yeah, I never considered that.
I can imagine someone getting a job as a butler and say, "Oh, I'm flaming," and then when he gets there, he's chasing girls.
And he's chasing girls. Yeah, right. That's funny.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So when was the first time that did you meet Hef then, the first time that you were up there working? What was that like? Did you have an affinity for Playboy too? Like, did you love the magazine? What was your...
That was the cliche. Dumpster diving when you're in elementary school, behind apartments in a way.
Yeah.
All the cliches. Because I just love the articles. And so I do anything I could to read the article.
The articles were amazing.
I didn't know there was pictures in the magazine.
Loved the articles,
Leaving Florida and coming back, my first car was an awesome Mopar, actually a really rare car. And when I bought my first vehicle, it only had one sticker on it, and that was in '78.
Oh wow!
On the back window.
Really? And had it on there when you bought it?
Yeah.
Oh, how funny! How serendipitous! Little did you know you'd be working at the mansion.
So yeah, that's how it happened. But with Hef, it was also different because I worked with kings and queens and presidents and all sorts of stuff.
You've done it all.
There was zero intimidation factor for me to approach him and find out right away. And then you find out right away, it's just you're male, you're boobless, you're a necessary evil here. So you know what I mean?
A necessary evil. I like that.
Like Leland made us realize how he would say he didn't want the butlers fraternizing. So it
oh no, yeah, you don't.
The way he treated. Yeah. That is an interesting dynamic.
Even when you're with his camera, you could almost get the eye, like, who are you looking at my girls? Like,
really?
Just the eye.
You knew him so well that you could tell.
He would come check up on us. He had his ways of checking up on us.
Did he?
Yeah. Like so I was there every card night, and Wednesday nights was card night. And everybody in the house, like a beehive, the sliding slippers on the hard surface.
Yeah.
You can hear him everywhere he is.
Okay.
It's almost like he's on the move. He doesn't do anything that he doesn't have to do. And on Wednesday nights, a lot of times he would decide to pick up the extra cards that weren't used on the table and help us out and bring them to us.
Oh, really? How cute.
In the pantry.
I'm going to bring them.
So as he's handing them to you, like he'd say, you can use these for next week. You can just see him like scanning, like, are there any playmates and hanging out and talking, or anybody who's staying upstairs, they hang out with them.
Right.
So he had his ways of checking on us.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That's a first. We haven't really heard that of him.
Yeah. Hear it.
Well, maybe Dan's the only one that made that observation and realized
that's another thing.
What he was
True.
True.
Yeah.
It's your job. Well, actually, in my job, in special events, being in supervision, whatever, your whole job is to be aware of your surroundings, to foreshadow what's going to be happening, or what the person's going to ask you for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, sometimes you're actually called a shadow. Like sometimes you're placed on one person for the whole event, just shadowing them and watching what they want. Like doesn't matter if it's Nancy Reagan or Ted Turner, whoever, you're a shadow all day. Mm-hmm. So if you're aware of your surroundings, and so Hef was easy, you could hear him.
Shuffling.
Now, did you do that with Nancy Reagan?
Oh no! One of the times with Nancy was just at Barry Diller's house. I should do Barry Diller's house.
Oh, cool!
Actually, I had to go protect Nancy from Bill Maher, that rat.
Oh, how funny!
Bill Maher, he was always at the mansion.
He's so anti-Reagan, and at Diller's, everybody shows up. It doesn't matter if it's De Niro. Everybody shows up. And when they pulled Nancy Reagan up on the golf cart, he just went storming over there. So I went right behind him to see what he's going to say. Nancy was going to be mean to her. He didn't. He told me later what he told her. But Diller had married. He told me, he says, I just said that my parents loved you. I wasn't going to say you were a douchebag or something like that. So Bill and we used to get in political arguments.
So what nights were you there? So card night, that was the night. So for our audience, explain like what card night is.
It was something.
Yeah. So let's go through that, because that's always a good reminder for our audience.
Okay. So basically Monday nights would be manly night.
And
that's when Hef and his chosen
cronies
come and they order dinner and they argue on the table, movie, and then go and watch the movie. So it was the same people, and they would occasionally come and go. And then Tuesday night kind of shifted. I remember Tuesday night was like a nightclub night, whatever the hot nightclub was in town. And then Wednesday night was always card night for forever. And just like the meals were planned, like there's Thanksgiving night, same thing with his weekly schedule. And then they kind of morphed a little bit. Pre Girls Next Door and post Girls Next Door was a little bit different. It's kind of like the PR department would push him out there to get him out, with the velvet ropes and on the nightclub scene, right?
Really?
And then as that changed, our movie nights, everybody used to think, oh, it's just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then kind of morphed into Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Thursday through Sunday.
Then, manly guys are going to watch a movie, but it just kind of morphed. So every night was something. Then became, I think, was it Thursday? It became game night with the girls would come downstairs and playing Uno and things like that. So, but every night was something.
Every night was planned.
Just like I think Friday night was older movies. Sunday was first run movies. Remember, we used to have someone from the movie studios have to be there to run the cans to get synchronize the film.
And they would bring that up under lock and key, right?
Oh, yeah.
The studios.
I heard from a lot of the guys say they used to put them down in the safe down in the basement.
Yeah, I believe that.
Security guy would come with them. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you have to pay the projections an ungodly amount.
Right.
And then when it went to Blu-rays, and then that $400 or $500 to have a guy synchronize the cans, went away.
Do you have any idea if the software, like, because obviously how everything was built out in the mansion was to facilitate film, which was on a reel, early on, but then everything went to Blu-ray. Was there an upgrade in the technology? I feel like I talked to, I forget his name, who did the whole
at the house.
Yeah.
The projection was the actual.
They would have to, right?
The old style projections went away. The projectors. Yeah, so they kept on morphing it to where our video department could handle it. The guys upstairs in video would be running the show.
Yeah.
So as butlers, we'd sneak, just kind of stand behind and watch the films if we wanted to, or go inside the room.
Right.
Yeah. So it kept on morphing, and also because we'd see all the Betamaxes being dumped in the can. You just see hundreds of Betamaxes being dumped in the trash. Yeah. I took a few, but nobody wants them.
Nobody out there you want VHS tape?
Yeah. They used to put things up. Yeah. If there's anything to go away,
Just kidding.
You know what Betamax is, Corinna?
Yes.
You do?
Well, there isn't it the Betamax that was the before VHS.
Yeah, it was the competition. It was VHS versus Beta.
Yeah, we had a Betamax. We had a Betamax.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No, we never did. But
and then Laserdisc.
Right.
That was one of my gifts when I got Playmate of the Year in '92. I got a Laserdisc player and Laserdisc movies.
Really?
So it's like
what about a car?
And a car.
What
yeah,
kind of car?
by then he was like, no, I'm just going to give them Betamaxes.
What car did you get?
Yeah, what kind of car?
A Lexus SC300.
Really? Because that kept on changing. One person would get a Pantera race car, and I think the very next year got a Mercury Capri.
Who the hell got a Mercury Capri?
Well, I also think it had something to do with marketing because it was whatever the car of the year was, and it wasn't always some fancy race car.
Yeah.
You were saying you got into some debates with Bill Maher. I want to know what those political debates were.
Well, there's a lot of arguing and debating at the house of all sides, but
yeah. That's what that's one thing Echo and I love, that there was like open dialogue. There wasn't right or left when it came to his friends, and you probably observed that where
mostly right,
mostly right,
just not when he was doing that.
See, isn't that interesting?
I could be arguing with any of his friends, and then when Hef arrives, you just stops on. Even if it was bantering back and forth, that's getting a little bit heated. He didn't mind. He just wouldn't interject ever. I used to try to get Larry Elder to get in a fight with him.
She used to try to get.
Really?
You know Larry Elder?
Oh, who was? I don't. Who is it?
Big. He ran for governor.
Governor of California.
He did. Yeah.
He's
yeah, big radio guy. But so he'd show up with a suit and tie on and no alcohol and all buttoned down and not get drunk. And so I would find vulnerable liberals I try to get him in arguments with. And Bill was like,
this one. He is full of one-liners. He is so dang funny.
We used to have screaming fights. I don't know if you remember Jameson the Butler.
I love Jameson.
He would try to fire me all the time.
You're
fired. Get out of this.
You're right.
Because we had epic arguments all over the house when Big Daddy wasn't down. So I was the anchor for the right.
That's funny. So in 2001, was that would have been right after Hef and Kimberly had separated?
She just went next door.
Yeah, she was next door.
Who was the one that was just leaving? The girl in the number one spot
on Trump's show.
Brandy.
So Brandy, yeah.
Was she just leaving the house?
Yeah, because she was playing to the year 2000.
So, yeah, of the numbering sequence for the girls.
Yeah.
This one's in bedroom 2, so whatever. And so I think Tina, because of her daughter, Tatiana.
Yeah.
She was in because of her daughter, and then I'm trying to remember who was moving out when I got there.
That would make sense that it was Brandy, because Brandy was like his first major relationship after Kim. Yeah. So then you were there then through watching the Girls Next Door evolve into what?
I was there before.
Yeah, before it, and then you watched it all evolve.
Because Holly wasn't there that much before.
Yeah, she came in as like a 7th girlfriend and then worked her way up.
When the musical chair stopped, she happened to be right there. And not everybody wanted that spot, right?
That is true. And not everybody wanted that spot. And isn't it interesting, the ones that did get it?
Talk about open mouth kiss. I never got. I'm such a germaphobe. I think whenever Hef ever did that, I would turn my head.
Smart. You are wet from your nose to your
chin. I missed that one. I never got it. The second spot, Tina left. It was Tiffany that took it.
So Tina left, and then Tiffany.
Because I used to have to change her monkey's diapers.
Wait, when did the twins leave then? Because the twins were there with Brandy.
No, wait. When did the monkeys start wearing diapers?
Well, she comes up to me. And, well, she got a little baby capuchin, whatever. And so she's like, "You have children, right? Yeah. You're changing diapers, right? Yeah. Okay, great. So every 3 hours, I need you to come up and change his diaper and make his hot food." Monkey, yeah.
And whose monkey was it? It was Tiffany. It was Tiffany's.
Yeah, so Tiffany had bedroom number 2. Screeching monkey, and since I had children with diapers, I became the diaper changer. But which twin? You mean
Mandy and Sandy.
They were already gone.
Yeah, because it was Brandy, Mandy, and Sandy that were actually the first major relationship, because it was all 3 of them at one time after Kim.
Well, it was like 10. I think we were up to 10 in the house. That's
Brandy,
before, yeah.
Mandy, and Sandy, and they were great together. I love that threesome. They were awesome, and they all loved Hef, and to this day, adored that man. And then is when it started getting like
it was like Tiffany and Sheila and Isabella and that whole crew. It was that time before the number started dwindling. Just like with the Girls Next Door, just like musical chairs, when it finally came about, those are the three that were there.
Yeah,
it wasn't plotted and planned for them.
Just
remember what? Yeah, it was with E before A&E or A&E before E. Which one? It was A&E, I think, before E is what it was going to be. And then I even heard.
Oh, the Girls Next Door was going to be on A&E.
I think it was supposed to be them because Alan Burns. It was his Prometheus.
That's right.
So I think he was probably. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but I think maybe he was shopping it for networks.
Okay.
And I even heard at one point that they were thinking about doing it on the Butlers. Is what I heard.
Yeah, that's kind of been my understanding. I think just from talking to Brian Olea that originally that show was kind of pitched like, well, it was going to be called Hef's World, right? And so it's going to be more like focused on like the inner workings of the mansion and whatnot. And then it evolved into
Girls Next Door.
Yeah,
because a lot of the things, just like when people talk about doing, tell-all books and stuff, you can't. Besides slanders and libels and all those kind of things, the funniest stuff wouldn't have been able to be aired. Or we wouldn't be able to say the funniest stuff.
Right.
As far as Hef knew, it was all yes or no, sir. I mean, he only used in all those years I was there, he only used my name once or twice.
That's what every butler says.
Apparently Leyland, he was there longer than you. He Hef never addressed him by his name ever.
What I understand is that he would have the Rolodex. And if there was a butler, like for me, I think he said the older guy with the goatee or he'd go through the Rolodex, that guy or whatever. I mean, he was always super polite, but it was always yes, sir, no, sir. Him, it was always please, thank you.
Yeah.
But that place could have completely wound out of control at any time. The fine blue line of control.
Yeah.
So if he cozied up to Butlers, it'd be just game on.
Yeah, that's true.
So with him, it was yes or no, sir.
Yeah.
It was all business. Sense. Even you can do anything you want with Keith and all them or whatever, family, drop F-bombs. We could hang up on people if they were rude and he would back you up for everything or the house would back us up. But when it came to Hef, it was all business. Just was. I mean, there were moments.
Of course, that's how it had to be operated.
Yeah. If I'm putting his watch on his wrist or helping him do something, we have those little moments, but in general, policy wise, it was pretty stark. Employee.
At the ship, he was the authoritarian, and he really was pretty authoritarian.
Yeah, it was just all business. Plus, you got to figure. We were just another butler.
At least they didn't get busted smoking weed out in the guest house like butlers from the 70s.
We had one or two.
Yeah. I mean, it's bound to happen.
One or two had to apologize and a little alcohol or something like that. But yeah, because that place was always on the edge of all those ingredients mixed together could have just.
A huge implosion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Really.
Well, I am so curious. What was that like to have like all 7 to 10 girlfriends living in the house when Hef had that huge harem? Was it rowdy? It was just busy.
Yeah, busy. If a group was out partying or something, it could get really busy.
If they came home at night, especially the night butlers are like, oh, well, they're going out tonight. So when they come home at night, it's going to be
nightclub night. Yeah. I had to. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you remember. Well, butlers. Part of our job was taking care of the girls.
Of course.
And I'm the dad with 2 daughters. So I was like hyper vigilant. Well, if you're on a party and you could just see something that doesn't look right, and you don't let it go. So same with the girls. I've had my hand on the forehead while they're losing their dinner in the toilet because I'm the old dad or whatever. Yeah. So they're
looking out. Good job, Jan. It's part of the job, right? Well, not necessarily, but it's like you knew how to. You knew how to navigate that.
Yeah. I had other motives when I was there than girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it comes back to, full circle.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So I want to know about. So then you also were there when Crystal came in, and the girls left. So I want to talk about that. Yeah, we saw her at the memorial service, and everybody was shocked that she even showed her face.
She lasted half hour? I don't know.
Less than that. I think it was like. Did everything change? He's all.
Well, if you label someone as high maintenance, you could have different interpretations or definitions of that. So as time went on, she had a lot of requests.
She did.
Like paper list requests and food and this and that. Everything changed.
She
In fact,
enjoyed having servants.
yeah, before,
Yeah, she liked it.
well, yeah, sometimes butlers would have to remind girls that I'm Mr. Hefner's butler, not yours. I'm here to take care, It's not just juggling, 5 dogs as you go out or 10 dogs. But I remember I had Mary or somebody said, Hef's coming down to approve the wedding table, because we had set the wedding table in the Great Hall for how it was going to be for a big wedding.
The runaway bride wedding.
So I hear the shuffle come down the hall. I'm like, okay, here comes Hef and Crystal. And it's just Hef coming down. And so he came down and said, sir, this is what we got, basically. He said, I'd like the centerpiece lower so people can look over it and talk. I said, are we, I kind of went, are we waiting for Crystal? And even later on at a dinner, Crysta Hefner asked Crystal what the colors were going to be of your wedding. And she said, I don't know, or something like that.
So was it kind of obvious that her heart wasn't in it?
Oh, yeah.
You could tell.
Yeah. And then it wasn't long after that, because I was also, that's the night that she left, that she walked out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was odd.
So what did you guys do when the wedding didn't happen? Because
that was all administrative stuff.
Okay.
I mean, other than that table, that was just a sample that they set up for him to approve, or her to approve.
Okay.
And that didn't happen. Everybody was shocked.
Okay, we're going to come back to Crystal. Tell our audience about Mopar and how long that went on.
Brian brought that up.
Mr. Olea, he's a big fan.
Yeah, late to the Mopar game. Yeah, Brian just found himself in driving a Challenger, so that we kind of just bring him into the Mopar fold. He's not like a knuckle busting grease monkey wrench turner.
Right. He just likes
he liked that Challenger.
Yeah, I like Challengers too. So Mopar stands for, and it's old school. It's been around
the 30s.
Since the 30s.
So Chrysler and General Motors and all them. Chrysler owned Dodge and Plymouth. Back in the 30s, actually it was their parts division. So if you went in to buy parts, it was Mopar. Well, then when the 60s and 70s and everything came, they had a racing division that supported anybody who bought a Dodge or Plymouth. So as a high school kid, I would go into the dealership and say, hi, I have a 1969 Charger. I didn't buy from them. This is 1978 or whatever. I would like my Charger to go this fast in the quarter-mile drag. They'd open the books and say, okay, you need this, that, this, that.
And they'd swap out the parts to achieve that.
You purchase it. Yeah, you'd have, so you can buy a race car already built, or you can build one, and you had help with Chrysler. So that's Mopar.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, Chevy really didn't have it. Ford didn't have it. But so the slang just became your Mopar guy.
What did that take to get that approved at the mansion? And like, what did that look like? How often was it?
That sprung out of tours. You're allowed to have only a certain amount of tours. Some abused them a lot more than others. And so I would give a lot of tours. Never for money. I was doing favors. So we did with Chef Carter. I would do the events at Hearst Castle. They'd bring the Playboy staff up for Ann Hearst, the granddaughter, at Hearst Castle. And so I would be trading. So right when I got to Hearst Castle, Chef Carter had me staff it for anybody he didn't have. And I went right to the first guy I saw working there and said, who's the oldest? That's Chuck. He's been here forever. Hi, Chuck. I'm Dann. I'm Hef Butler. I'd like to make a trade. I'd like to come to your place here with you, and I will have you come to Playboy with me. So I made a deal where I'd give him tour for 4. And their employees are allowed once a year pool party. You've been to Hearst Castle with all the pool?
I have never been.
Know about Hearst Castle, right? Yes. They didn't put a price on the stuff. You can't calculate the money there.
Yeah, that's pretty.
My theory, so I'm a historian on the side, right? A little history and stuff like that. So the parallels between Randolph Hearst and Hef are like right there. So my theory is Hef imitated Randolph Hearst.
Interesting.
I don't care what anybody said. That's my observation. If you dig down, Randolph Hearst was, everything from running for president, but he's the big publisher, right? King of publisher, all the magazines, and Hearst Publishing, and Patty Hearst. So Ann Hearst is her sister. Okay. Anyway, so when we were working there, we had carte blanche to walk everywhere where you can't go on a tour. I mean, there's buzzers on the carpets. We're literally going, man, this bed's comfortable, and they're just nervous now because we're there working for Ann Hearst.
Right.
Oh God.
So I went to the guy and I said, I heard about your event, and he goes, okay, so we'll swap. So. But when I was there, I'd look around the castle too. Gee, there'd be a phone directory by every phone. There'd be pads of paper by every phone, by every directory. There'd be pencils and paper by everyone.
It's like the mansion.
What's Randolph Hearst famous for? Big publisher, a mover and a shaker. The first guy to have a zoo. So he had a zoo. And what was he famous for? If you go back to YouTube, all those photos are of the celebrities and other people using his tennis court for events. And tennis courts. Zoo. Anyway, similarities just kept on falling. Yeah. The mansion to me, Hearst Castle was like, well, there's this and this.
Hugh
That's right. And one of the most famous thing he did is the celebrities would use his movie hall inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
So Randolph Hearst was all about movies, and people would use his house for movies, tennis, swimming, but he didn't swim. So he was into tennis, swimming. So it's movie stars, movies at the house, tennis, parties. Look at all the papers. So
wow, there are a lot of similarities
too.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, there'd be a phone directory by every phone. There'd be pads of paper by every phone, by every directory. There'd be pencils and paper by everyone. And
just like the mansion.
What's Randolph Hearst famous for? Big publisher.
Uh-huh.
A mover and a shaker.
Uh-huh.
The first guy to have a zoo.
Oh,
it's still up there. Polar bears. So he had a zoo. And what was he famous for? If you go back to YouTube, all those photos are of the celebrities and other people using his tennis court for events. And tennis courts, zoo, and there's another biggie. I'm trying to remember. And then the stuff around the house. Anyway, but the similarities just kept on falling.
Yeah, like, and you saw it. Yeah,
and you've seen Citizen Kane, right? The movie.
Yeah.
But the house, but the mansion. To me, Hearst Castle was like, well, there's this and this. That's right. And one of the most famous thing he did is the celebrities would use his movie hall inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
So Randolph Hearst was all about movies, and people would use his house for movies, tennis, swimming, but he didn't swim.
Mm-mm.
He wasn't big. So he was into tennis, swimming, whatever. So it's movie stars, movies at the house, tennis, parties. Look at all the papers. So
wow, there are a lot of similarities.
And it's Solomon in the Bible. That's what I always.
Are you a world famous publisher? You're a world famous. I mean, the similarities are just like, and that would be Hef's era too, as far as how important Randolph Hearst was for Hef's generation.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it all a coincidence?
Exactly. That's a really cool observation. How wild! But that makes sense.
Have a dream and emulate. It's like even with all of the movies that he loved, you can kind of see how they shaped him. Oh.
You can see all those on videos. You can see the tennis games. You can see the movies. That's part of the tour. Part of the tour is the movie room and the tennis court and the pools, the indoor and outdoor pools.
See, and I really did. It really shocked me that they didn't turn the mansion into a museum.
They wouldn't allow it. The homeowners association, the Holmby Hills, they would never allow it. You talk about like a Graceland?
Yeah.
They would never allow it.
Like how they did Hearst Castle.
Yeah, no, the neighbors would never allow that. Yeah. And Hearst Castle is actually owned by the state. It's a state park.
Okay.
It was donated to the state, so the state.
And I never would have known that, so that makes sense.
You ever seen when you're on the way to Vegas? You know when you go past Peggy Sue's, you see that Calico mine ghost town up on the side. That's also a state park that Walter Knott of Knott's Berry Farm built, and he donated it like Hearst Castle. He just donates it to the state and becomes a state park.
Who knew?
You should stop on the way there. It's an old.
Yeah, I've been to that.
Okay, well that's Walter Knott's thing.
Wow, I did.
Yeah, he built that, and then he built the one. He built that before Knott's Berry Farm, and then he built Knott's Berry Farm to look like that mine on the way to Vegas.
I love it. History right here. That's very cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Hearst Castle. So I did more than 1 year up there with Chef Carter. He put on. It was a big celebrity event, a dinner for like 50, 25 couples, and on the big.
How long were the cars on property at the mansion?
Oh yeah, back to Mopar.
We got deep into Hearst. Okay.
So
the Mopar thing is quarter mile racing, right?
Well, Mopar is just a slang for all things high performance with Dodge and Plymouth.
Okay.
The Mopar show came about because I'm in the hobby. I have my old Dodge Challenger, and I got to know the owners of the magazine, John Ellis and Rob Wolf. And so over the years we became friends. And when they're here from Louisiana, the magazine's out of Louisiana, I'd go hang out with them. And then I said, "You guys want to do a tour?" And I said, "Oh, of course, favors, so bartering favors, but this was just a favor." And so while we were walking around, at some point, Rob and John said, "Man, we should have a car show here."
There you go.
And they go,
"That's how it came."
They go, "Is that possible?" Like, I don't think so, but so then I found out there was never a car show there.
Yeah.
But my ace in the hole was Hank Fawcett. You know Hank?
Of course. So for our audience, Hank Fawcett, another long-term employee that was there for decades, if not from the beginning of when Hef had bought that mansion. But Hank was responsible for building and doing everything you can possibly imagine for all the events, for all the luncheons, for the parties, everything. And I mean, he was so handy and crafty.
Days,
yeah, back to Chicago.
Well, because I saw a lot of pictures of him in Chicago. So,
I never knew that.
Yeah. So
that's super cool.
He was like Mr. Powerful on the property, but he wasn't the general manager. He became general manager when John Luther left.
Okay, when John Luther left.
So the joke is he took a step down in power when he became the general manager. But anyway, so Hank Watson's a car guy.
Okay.
And he at the time he was looking for a Mopar because he at the Mapleton house across the street he'd keep a couple of cars there and whatever. So he had me looking for an old Mopar, and we became closer that way. So I knew Hank was the ace in the hole, and so Hank was the one that cut the red tape and maneuvered the way. And so then they say, let's do a show. And if you remember that do you remember the lawn was a sunken English garden?
Yes.
That's an English sunken garden. They were all over Holmby Hills and Beverly Hills. That's the thing.
When you would drive up the front lawn,
remember the lawn was sunk.
Yeah.
Remember where they used to have the Playmate Olympics? Remember they'd fill it with water.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the first couple shows, I think, was that the cars were just put on an angle inside there.
Oh, how cool!
Inside there, so he got approval to bring cars on the property and have a car show, and so we just ran with it. And one show turned into two, into three. But at that time, the grass would always have to be replaced in the back from the parties. It would die.
I would imagine.
And that's when they switched to AstroTurf. And so they took all that dirt from the back when they made it AstroTurf, and they leveled that front lawn. It became flat.
Whoa, they leveled the front lawn.
Yeah. And then they would teasingly joke me that it was my fault because if we went and brought the car shows that were all digging divots in the car, it was like, because I'm all about the history. Actually, I tried to write a book on the property. So you don't ruin the sunken garden.
Right, I know.
And they made it flat. They leveled it with all the dirt from back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then we just did the Mopar shows there, and then I think the last one was called Muscle Cars at the Mansion because we wanted to bring in the Chevy money and the Ford money guys. Wanted to broaden it. So it happened for a while then. What did we do? 3 or 4?
Okay.
Something like that. So and then from that they did 2 other car events. And one was a friend of a friend, and he asked about it, and then he got his cars up there, and he brought some Mustangs up there, and then they had the Gumball 2000. Remember the coast to coast races? So but our show was the first car thing there.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can only fit. I think in total we had like 30 because there were some on the driveway in the back, and charged a lot of money and
yeah, I bet. Yeah. That's also something that I don't necessarily know if our audience knows or not, but the mansion was used a lot for special events. It didn't have to be like a Playboy event. So it was always rented out.
It was a venue.
It was a venue. Yeah.
Just not inside the house.
Yeah, exactly.
So people would say, I've been to a Playboy party. It was a sausage fest. Oh, no, you weren't at Hef's.
You weren't at Hef's.
You were some corporation.
Parties like Hef did. If you were in it.
He controlled the guest list. Yeah, so it could be just another corporation or golf scrambles. I would tell people if they say they really want to get in, just join the golf scramble, and you'll get you get the party before the golf scramble. So if you really want to see the house, but other than that, people would rent the outside grounds, and then or they'd come in through like our big fight nights. I did fight nights there. I was in the ring doing the ring girl thing.
Nice.
Every year I was there. Yeah,
fun.
So I worked fights outside of Playboy.
Okay.
Yeah, can't let the girls. When you bend the ropes open, you can't let the girls' ears or their heels hit because Hef's right there. And can you imagine if the ears would have hooked that rope? Oh my God! Can you imagine that? Oh, there goes Holly's ears.
There goes Holly's ears. Oh no!
It's not easy getting in there.
Right.
The girls are tall.
Right.
And the heels.
Right.
And it's unstable. And now you got what, 6-inch hooks?
I never saw one of those fight nights. Obviously, I saw pictures and whatnot, because I didn't live in LA, so it's like,
that's fine.
Yeah.
All the athletes, I mean, all that knew that the night before the ESPY Awards in LA.
It was before the ESPY Awards.
The night before, so to tell their wives that I got to go to LA, baby, it's the ESPYs, because they know the night before is that Playboy.
Yeah. They're like, I got to hit that up.
Yeah, because Hef was a huge fight fan.
I didn't know that. Did you know that he was
a huge fight fan?
I had no idea.
Like one year we'd have Best Damn Sports Show guys would put it on. Next year it'd be Sugar Ray Leonard's production or Golden Boy, all the different production companies.
Okay.
Because he was a huge fight fan. And then one year they talked him into MMA. So we had Strikeforce come in.
Wow.
And he hated it.
Because it wasn't boxing.
No, I think the joke was, I think he said, why are those men wrestling on the ground?
He didn't get it.
No, and he couldn't see because they go on the ground right away. So
Right.
like
where you're looking up to actually watch a
I
boxing match.
I didn't come here to watch you guys.
Half being so turned off by that. Like, what the hell is this? Like, I'm not down with this.
So I was one and done. Right force.
What is that they started doing that?
Oh boy, I'm terrible with years. Strike force or just fight. Well, fight nights were every year. So I did my first one, I think, in 2001 or 2, and then I was there doing it every year since then. So fights were every year. And one time they moved to the front of the yard. It was always in the back. But the strike force was probably around 2011, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't fly.
Oh.
Men wrestling.
Man wrestling.
They destroyed the sunken garden, and it's all your fault.
Yeah, and they blame it on me because they knew it hurt me because I'm the historian. I didn't want to.
Yeah,
but it was a lot of fun. But every year, and there's always some kind of events going on.
Always. Certainly, we're learning more and more as we go along and interviewing the guests, and it's just like it's endless. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's not like Manny or Hank. Because like if you're talking about the monkeys, he'd say, "Yeah, those weren't caged before; they just ran free." I'm like, really? He says, "Yeah." Then they go over to the neighbor's yard, and the neighbor would call, "Get your monkeys back."
No way.
The monkeys ran free. That's what Manny told me.
Monkeys?
Yeah.
How cute.
It wouldn't be the tree monkeys.
Yeah, it would have been the spider monkeys. That's interesting. How wild.
He told me.
Yeah. Well. I mean, he was there from the beginning.
So yeah, there's so much history there. And then of course I'm interested in the original history of it, but it didn't fly because couldn't get photos. Publisher requires a certain amount of photos, and they don't exist, or they exist. Some may exist, but it's in the Hef Foundation, not in the corporate archives.
The Hef Foundation.
Another story. I would love. There are so many interesting things that are.
Yeah, that place is full of history.
Yeah, I guess. Gosh, who knows what. Oh, the HMH Foundation. It's all just so sad what has occurred with
Amanda's got control. I don't know if she still is, but
she is.
Okay, so a lot of stuff went into that foundation that, of course, wasn't sold off, or that Crystal didn't throw out the window into the trash can.
Yeah,
and she did into the trash can.
Wait, are you serious? Like literally, she was just like chucking shit out.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know she threw things away.
Yeah, she had to clean the house. I think it was on a weekend.
And there were about that. I wasn't even there. Letters that she probably had no idea were historic.
Can you imagine? Because office personnel would have been protecting it. I heard it was a weekend or whatever time of the day, and literally they were just filling up.
It's like literally like Hef passed, and then it was like clear out the mansion. We'll have some subpar memorial up at the mansion for the few select guests. I mean, Lacey was telling me it was an absolute joke. Like, but. And I'm sure this was all Crystal saying, we're going to do this, this, and that. And that's it. It was nothing Hef would have ever done, nor would you ever expect to have something of that low caliber at the mansion.
I would have been crying if I was there. Well, I would have snuck in with my flashlight and gone to the trash cans to see what was done.
Yeah. That's crazy. Let me ask you, when did Crystal's mother move into the mansion? Not when she first got there, right? But eventually she moved in there.
Yeah, it all started changing. There would never be any siblings or parents. And then when it was down to the 3, that all started changing. This is my brother. This is my mom. This is my stepdad. With 2 nights here. So she, of all the family, she was the one that.
So it's my understanding too then that Crystal took over the guest list, and there was a lot of people then that were swiftly taken off the guest list. And for our audience, again, we've spoken about this, that there was a 24-hour guest access list. Not everybody was on that list, obviously. And then anybody else, you would have to get approval from the office to come onto the grounds. Even including myself, I would have to call if ever I was going to go. It was always a yes, not a problem. But with that said, there was a key group of people that had 24-hour access. They were all Hef's closest friends and confidants. And then they slowly just started, they'd show up and they weren't allowed on the grounds.
They get a DNA. That's in your label. And when they look up on the computer, it says DNA. Do not allow.
They said DNA on there.
Do not allow.
Do not allow.
And some of these were, people that have been there for years.
Yeah.
And even it goes back to way back at the house where if you did something wrong, you could be a celebrity, you did something wrong, your DNA. I had a couple celebrities over the years ask me to help them get back in.
Yeah.
Remember, I think one was Bo Hopkins. Remember the guy from American Graffiti, the head guy?
Yeah, he was in my movie.
Okay, Bo. Yeah, a lot of the guys they do something wrong and they get a DNA.
Yeah, I mean, if you got in trouble, I mean, and that also would apply to Playmates.
I'd like to see. Yeah, he just recently passed. I would like to see The DNA list would be interesting.
Yeah.
No shit. Like, who was on the do not
admit know what they did too. Like, I want to know
something. He got rowdy on something, but I would see, because he had seen him at the car show.
Yeah.
Him doing anything, but that's
no. He could have. It could have been anything. He could have.
It could have been anything.
He could have. Who knows what it was, but he wanted back in, and there was. I'm trying to think of other people asked me over the years if they can get back in. See, I was just hyper attentive to all his friends and try to build my own relationships, and then attentive to the guests like I would be in my industry. And a lot of times that the dividends paid off. Oh, you're what? Oh, I'm an executive for Oakley. Thanks for your help. Pick out anything you want. Got a business card. Go down, drive to Oakley, pick out the most
smart.
Meet another guy.
Yeah.
A guy from Johnny Rockets. A guy from Johnny Rockets goes, give me your address. You really helped me out tonight. He sent me a gold card. And I thought it was like for a free burger or something. No, it's all the free food you want for a full year.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I love that. And the perks.
Yeah. And as much food. You go in a restaurant with your friends and just order whatever you want, any restaurant. And my wife got a hold of that. I would present the card at Johnny Rockets anywhere. Vegas, even Vegas. Hey, who are you? And then general managers would come.
Because not many people had it.
Nobody, they said, we need to know who you are. And here's my name. And then they take the card back and they're like, and so you can see the waiter's like, just whatever he says.
Wow, that's
but I didn't realize. And my wife spent thousands of dollars on that card.
Yeah.
Because it's my neighbor's kid's birthday. We're all going to Johnny Rockets.
This is making a lot more sense, actually, of you even prefacing it with when we started the interview that you were older, you'd been in the industry, and you really understood how to navigate that, and thus then develop your own relationships.
On the side.
Which is, I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that like networking at the mansion, that was incredible, if you understood how to do that. So, because a lot of the butlers were very young, most of them were young.
Objects running around, and that's what they see.
Yeah, so that's neat.
No, I mean, I still have the friendships I still have from the house, or so if it's a movie night, Vince Bugliosi, remember Manson's prosecutor, he would grab me and we go outside, and I'd just get earful for a long time with people like him. But they're so interesting to talk to them.
Yeah.
And so I would have like my collection of friends that were house friends that I never would be able to, like the George Barrises with all the cars and stuff like that. And so I worked hard on the relationships.
As you should. I mean, when you ever get that kind of caliber and group of people together, you just don't. That's
why the money didn't matter. It wasn't the money.
That's right. Yeah, that's something we talk about all the time. That there was no expense spared in any way, in any facet of the business, from shooting our centerfolds to talking to Playboy Entertainment and their budgets that they had. I mean,
there was so much there.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk in the backyard and Burt Bacharach's hanging out with Tommy Lee from Motley Crue.
Right.
So especially a lot of the younger listeners too got to understand that for baby boomers especially, it's like Candyland, because all these people mattered. You mentioned some of these names and they just like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, dude,
Don't you agree, Corinna? We were the right age, because I knew who all Hef's friends were. And that was just from, I mean, I would watch old movies with my mom growing up. I knew who they were. Yeah. But anybody like today, they're like, who is that? They have no idea.
Well, I did my first commercial in the 4th grade here in Las Vegas with Dick Van Patten.
Oh, cool.
Well, they were just
small world.
Yeah, she's like, I
mean, talk about coming full circle, and then they were stellar humans. Even his sons, super I really think were they weren't ever seedy or
nope.
They were
that whole family was
respectful, and that's what made me feel comfortable at the mansion. When I started meeting, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are just nice people.
It's cool to go to work and say, I'm going to go over there and talk to Buzz Aldrin.
Right.
Talk to Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
There's things I wanted to say to him I didn't say. But it was way where you can, because where I work outside of the house, you can't do that.
Right.
I mean, I do a lot of the homes where you can do it in their homes. So celebrities' homes, they let their hair down, they're drinking, and you're there till 3 a.m. But at any venues, Playboy was just fun. That's all. Playboy was fun.
Really, it was relaxed. Like there was a very relaxed environment that
it was fun.
Luxuriously relaxed.
For sure. A high level of expectation from you, but it was like, you do your job. I mean, that's why employees stayed for 20, 30, 40, 55 years. Pat Lacey was there for 55 years.
That's why when you
said it wasn't anything nefarious in the sense that, everybody's big boys and girls. You knew it was an adult magazine. and that he was the original Playboy. You know, you knew that. You already knew that. So nothing was shocking. But I never, of course, he was married to Kimberly at the time, but I never saw anything shocking. Like everything was, I felt protected. You and I have talked about this, Echo, where we just really felt, and even with the Butlers, and you felt like everyone was family. I felt very comfortable. So he knew how to pick you, Dan. He knew
it was safe. It was safe. People have let their imaginations run wild. You know, that's their imaginations running wild.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe certain things happen during different decades, whatever. Right. People just let their imaginations run wild. It's like, you know what? No way.
No.
If somebody was doing something bad, there's a good chance it was because they thought they should because they were there or something.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
I'll give you a perfect example. I don't think I've shared this story with you, Corinna. I don't think so. And this also for our audience, here we go. So this is a perfect example of like, because everybody assumes that either you had to sleep with Hef to be a playmate, or if you were at the mansion, you're expected to go up to his room, whatever, right? So I would always stay there because I was always in LA working. I lived in Austin. And they were so, you know, so gracious because sometimes I would stay for like a month at a time. It was like, it was great. Yeah. So when I would stay, and this was during Tina, Jordan, I guess it would have been Tiffany. It was like a couple of them. Hef would ask me to go out. And so a couple times I went out with him and the group, and we went out in the limo. So this one time, Stacey Sanchez and I went out with them, and we're driving back. Stacey are on this side and Hef is on that side with the girls, right? So we leave the club, we get in the limo, and I don't know who got down on their knees and started giving Hef a blowjob, right? Oh, I don't want to see this. You just see her head bobbing up and down, and he's like smirking, and I'm like, oh, cheers. So we get home to the mansion, and we get out, and he was so sweet. He even helped me out of the car, and he was like, would you like to come upstairs? And I said, no, thank you so much. I said, I had such a great time. Thank you so much for taking me out. And it was okay, sleep well, kiss on the cheek, that's it. So that goes back for our audience again. If you wanted to go have sex with Hef, you could, but if you didn't want to, it wasn't like you were never going to be allowed to come back or anything. So it's very like mistaken, you know, idea.
Like us walking in the room.
I'm sure you would see stuff.
Or his room, because during the Doritos Fritos and bean dip era, after they come to the nightclub, it's, you know, you're constantly bringing up drinks, trays of drinks and dips and chips, and the door swings open wide.
You're like, I may or may not see something.
I would think one of my favorite nap spots. All employees had favorite nap spots.
Oh, really?
And mine was under Hef's bed, not because it was under Hef's bed downstairs, but because that was just it's a leopard couch. Leia has that couch now.
Oh, he does?
Because that's behind it, because they stopped rolling up the movie screen up and down because it would wreck the screen, so they left it down. So the employees knew the couch was behind there.
Right. Oh, so you would go, okay, I see what you mean.
You know, as long as you don't start snoring, because you know, the Gestapo security guys would come around, but that's under Hef's bed.
Oh, that's funny.
So if I'm under there trying to sleep and I could hear after nightclub night, you're like, oh, and you'd be like, that's Bridget.
Yeah.
And you're like,
wow. That's super funny. I mean, so many spots really to kind of like escape to if you knew where they were. So that was your spot to go take a nap.
I could hear the phone in the pantry or something.
Right. Just kind of close your eyes. That's cool.
Under there. Yeah,
that's
there's a lot
super
of
cool.
hidden nooks and crannies around there. So.
Yeah, there were.
Would get on you if they caught you?
Depends on who it was. Yeah. And not bad, because we're like brothers. Like, dude, we're going to feed you. You know, I mean, it was a back and forth thing. But there was always that one. You know, there's always one staff that's too much by the book.
That's so funny. Butlers versus security.
It starts out as bantering back and forth. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I ended up You know, they were going to move me to security before Hef died. So actually, I was supposed to be security before Hef died, and then our evil corporate spy manager that came in.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, they offered it and they took it away from me. So because I did moonlight security outside of the house. I did armed security, armed protection work. And so I would tell head of security, I think Joe had already passed away, Papa Joe.
Yeah.
So it was Rick. And I'd say, you know what? I do it outside of here. You guys run short and you hire these guys coming outside the house. So these guys don't know the names, the faces, the voices on the rock. I said,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm not full-time Butler, even if I worked 3 or 4 days of Butler that week, I said, just give me a call. So they went through the you know, the machinations they had to, got approval for me to do both Butler and security. And that's when that Andy guy came in. And he came to me and said, nope, you're either butler or security. And I said, well, I'm not leaving this gig.
I'm sorry, but that man, and I guess really anybody coming into Playboy that wasn't aware of how it was operated, and you know,
he was corporate.
He was big time corporate, and so he just saw all that and was like, "Oh, this is a shit show. This got to go. This got to go. Nope, nope, nope."
So I was looking forward to staying there all the way through with that passing away, and then Crystal's mom preferred anybody who would smoke and drink with her, because Crystal told us not to give her mom any alcohol or anything like that.
I heard her mom was a big drunk.
Yeah. So then as they were letting go butlers, I kind of thought I'd be doing security. So there was a lapse there, and then Rick stayed on it with me. And then, so when I started doing security, I actually started with Darren Metropolis, the new owner, not with
security. Echo when we went up to the Rock after Metropolis bought the mansion.
Could have been one. It was one of us. It was one of us. Why? What'd you do? What did you do? What did you do? Did you flash somebody?
We pulled up to the back gate and we said that we were a vet here to take care of the monkeys. There's no monkeys here.
We want to pet the peacocks or whatever.
How long after he died?
About 4 years since he passed, maybe 3 years.
Those were Darren's brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, they were not having any of it.
And they were like kids. I trained my replacement.
Wow.
Yeah, so they brought in security to take over.
They didn't know what to think. I bet there's so many people that do what Echo and I did because it was the Playboy Mansion. The people that used to go to the Rock probably do that occasionally.
They probably still do.
They probably still do, yeah. So you said, and I've also heard this from other people, that like Hef's health rapidly declined very, very quickly, right?
Yep.
And was that a matter of like a year, 2 years? Like what was, and it was all during that time that the guest list was being closed down. All the key people that he knew that had been in the mansion forever were just fired without cause. They didn't even tell Hef. So I have to go looking for these people, and they're gone.
And they wouldn't let us transfer the phones upstairs.
Right. And I heard that he wasn't allowed.
They wouldn't let us do it. I did a couple of them.
Don't you think that obviously a combination of old age, he did have a very bad back because he never worked out in his life, and he was always hunched over either on the floor or whatever, editing, as we know. But that right there of cutting everybody off definitely aided in his rapid decline.
That would be a safe bet. If you knew anybody in Vegas, I can place the bet for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, it happened relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And it left everything that happened left a lot of room for speculation.
Absolutely.
Which is sad.
Yeah. And none of it makes sense.
Yeah. And so us butlers, a lot of us thought that there should have been a full court press with family.
Yeah.
Yes, like someone to come in and
I think family should have literally say, I'm coming in.
I mean, they even had a hard time getting to their dad, the boys.
Yep.
And Christy.
Yep. But at some point you just,
and
the black flag, and you get your sword and you say, we're taking the fort.
Yeah,
we're taking the fort, and we're, and then if it goes to lawyers or whatever. But yeah, it happened relatively quick. And so they started firing different people and then I guess laying off people who were the most expensive.
Yeah.
I wasn't on that scale. I stayed later than most, only because I was probably the cheapest employee, because I was pretty close. And then when it was my time, I was kind of open to become security, but it didn't happen. So there was a lapse. Yeah. So I wasn't there. I was not employed there when Hef died.
Right.
But it picked up right after that because Darren was waiting the Weens to move into his house.
Yeah.
And so it was still in the works, but there was a gap there where the girls kept Sheila, Kia, and I'm sure that would have been Crystal's mom wanting the girls
to clean.
Just like when Carlina first got there, right? There weren't girl butlers.
I wanted to ask you then, so the health was like, that was pretty obvious. And then we know that like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
dirty.
It is dirty. We know that. Yeah, we know that.
It's literally dirty. We had to keep cleaning up after him too. And why does this old man have the window blowing right across him? Moves up, keeps opening the window. Because we have to change his e-wet stuff every night. One of our joke scenarios would be Crystal's dad and her mom and Crystal's sitting down, and this is after she leaves, after she left the altar, and having the mom crying inconsolably because it's her, and the dad going, Lee,
What the hell?
how much did you get for that ring?
That's crazy.
And then we just kind of figured that it was part ego, part stubbornness about him. Why would he take her back?
Yeah.
He didn't need her back. And he fell in love with the girls. He flat out fell in love with the girls, and he'd be upset if one left. And so it's almost like the more people that push him, like, good, she's out, it's almost like, I'll show you. So I know Cooper, I know there was family that said, what are you doing? Why are you taking her back?
For sure.
And we all thought,
yeah. And he let her back in.
and
That
then
was
to
the
do
worst.
it that fast and get married.
Yeah.
That's just the Saturday Night Live skit of Lee Lovett uncontrollably crying because she lost her.
God,
her
that,
golden goose.
I mean,
That's
that
the golden
sums
goose.
it all up right there. That's hysterical.
And then
visual.
remember, she finagled to get the listing as a real estate agent across the street.
I didn't know that.
I got pictures.
She's a realtor?
Well, she went and got it.
No fucking way. I didn't
So
know
you know,
that.
California 6% on the commission, and so she wouldn't allow.
She wanted to get that bag.
Right, and I heard rumor that she wouldn't allow showings because she was waiting for a buyer to come her. So she's already got the selling listing. There's 3%. If you hold on for a buyer, now there's 6%.
Yeah, you get the both commissions.
I have thousands. Before phones had cameras, I was sneaking cameras at Playboy. I have some.
Yeah,
I got tons of pictures.
I didn't know that you're a historian as well.
Thousands.
Yeah,
I'm a city historian for fun, it's just a hobby. So it's a description of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the official city historian, but it's still descriptions. It's my hobby. So that's why I collected so much stuff. I have paperwork, I have everything you can imagine from Playboy. Paperwork and documents.
That's cool.
And I would always take extras as far as Hess Christmas cards. So I collected stuff, but the pictures I took when I was there by myself, I would be upstairs in a bedroom and not know what bedroom I'm in because all the walls are gone, the ceiling's gone, there's no furniture, it's just guts. And see, that's where he lied. He said there was a push, they were going to slap a historic marker on the house.
That's what I thought they did.
It disappeared. How did it disappear? How did that disappear? Because it was one of
these Pabst Blue Ribbon Air and everything
else.
It
was one city councilman, I think, that was pushing that hard,
totally.
And that was just for historical mark, which it should be. It
absolutely should have been.
It's the genesis of Holmby Hills.
Yeah.
And the guy who built the house, he owned Bullock's department stores. He owned Broadway. He was the one that brought UCLA to town. He was the one developing Westwood. He was a huge mover and shaker, and that's why the dog graveyard. He raised dogs. He was a big mover shaker. And so that house absolutely needed a historic tag on it. Mm-hmm. And so when Darren came in, I'm just going to, it's an old house. I need electric and water and power. And it needs just to be renovated structurally. And
he just completely ripped it all out. So all that beautiful woodwork, everything.
All the plants. He got to the point where he wanted it to be just a barren house up on a hill.
Why?
Even the point where the state came in, because they have the top arborists that come in and say, you're going to kill these pine trees. You have to pull the grass away from the pine trees. And then he tried to do a 4th of July slip and slide. So they just got a bunch of tarps and went down the slope and then killed the grass. And he just wanted all the foliage out. Whatever.
He's just making it like his own.
Yeah. And that was.
And that front lawn, what did he do with that? Did he build another structure there?
There's multiple structures.
Oh, what a disgrace!
We were happy he was there because we thought, we always joked, the conversation would come up. I hope a foreigner doesn't come in here and rip this place down because it's the prime property. It's 8 acres with Kim's house total. And then he got there and we thought, God, this guy spent $1 million on Hef's old car, that old white car from Chicago days, the old Mercedes, whatever it is. With all the films.
He bought that too.
It. You know, when you see the old black and white.
I know. Yeah.
Chicago.
That's one of my favorites.
So he bought that. Then he bought Kim's house. And we're thinking, great. Here's an American guy that loves Playboy.
Yeah.
He just has money to collect.
That's what you would think.
He's going to collect. And he was collecting things Playboy. And his dad came in and lowered the price on the house. Anyway, so we thought, okay, we're good. He's just going to keep it. And then even when the historical tag didn't come, we thought, well, all right, we lost that, but we're good. This guy's going to keep everything.
Like you really thought he would honor.
And then the dumpsters came and he started ripping everything up. And then it got really weird. The last thing I did there, because he wasn't having any parties at all, he allowed Quentin Tarantino, when I was still there, to have a rap party.
For Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I did see that.
And ironically, that led to us being pushed out. We were going to be fired. So they gave us offers of severance. And then, we figured the word that was being whispered in his ear was his brother saying, why don't you use my security, which weren't security at all. They were punky kids that didn't know what they were doing. And then he said they'd be cheaper. And then you don't want any Playboy here. So they want to get rid of all vestiges of Playboy. And so it was me, Greg Graves, and Jimmers, because Jimmy Eagle was a Butler a long time when you were there, Brian, Jim
Yeah,
Eagle.
yeah.
So it was me, Jimmy, and Greg Graves. And so we all took severance packages, and then we were training these kids that they'd have a folded jacket and a blister pack flashlight from like Costco. And so they weren't
You're
security.
kidding me. That is such
which is bad because he was so paranoid, the owner, Darren. And because of that party with Tarantino, 4 or 5 towels went missing. And we've got hundreds of people on property, grips, gaffers. You've got a movie production on site, and a little handful of towels went missing, and he blamed us. Like, dude, they're rolling giant carts in now. Trucks are coming. It's all construction.
Yeah. Yeah. Some towels. Like,
and they were just towels. They were just towels. They maybe had his monogram on. Whatever.
Wasn't he friends with Cooper? Isn't that how he initially caught his eyes on? Well, because he would go over to Kimberly's house, and then
that's how he worked in.
Yeah.
So
he worked that angle.
He worked that angle, and so him and I got along great because I was the lightning rod at the house for all things Republican or conservative. And so Cooper, every time we were together, Cooper tried to get me and Darren in an argument. This guy's a conservative. He loves Ray. Because Darren grew up with like Chelsea Clinton and them on the East Coast, or East Coast money. And even one time I had to walk Darren. I had to escort him and Cooper from the Jazz Festival all the way to the parking lot because his vehicle couldn't be there. And the whole way Cooper was working it, trying to get me and him in an argument. This is before I worked.
That's funny.
And so when he actually hired me, then he got quiet. So I had no discussions with him after, but before, he'd be getting kicked out from security, and he'd whistle. He's like, Dan, I'd say, you guys, that's your new boss.
That's funny.
Yeah, I remember once at the door, he's rapping on the door. I'm like, remember his pony?
And he's like, I own this.
At the front door. Like the ponies, you got to go around, right? He's there, and he's looking at me like this. I'm like, I think he told him, like, pony, he owns the house. You want to let him?
Yeah, that's funny.
But with Darren coming in, we all just started relaxing. The friendship with Cooper, once he had his thing, just kind of went.
He got what he wanted out of it and carried on. What year did he formally buy the mansion? Because I know that he had been trying to buy it for years.
It was just I think he only had to hold on 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact.
And that was the agreement that Hef would die there, and then he could come in.
That was the gamble. If Hef lives 5, 6 years, 7 years, you don't get your house. But
you
it
didn't
didn't matter. It's not money. It's not houses. They had plenty of that.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter.
Yeah. That's wild. Mm-hmm.
So here's me and Cooper, right at the stage at the Jazz Festival.
Oh, Cooper, he looks just like his dad.
Completely.
So that's him.
So we're all buddy because I wasn't working for him there. But once I started,
like he didn't fucking know.
Well, he just wouldn't engage.
He just wouldn't talk to you.
He wouldn't engage. He'd be all like,
yeah, he wouldn't engage.
But he wouldn't engage. But he sure engaged when I was the butler. I joke that I wanted to sue him because they killed my fish.
That was so sad when you told me that.
One of them was mine.
Yeah, I know. You told me that. I can't believe that they killed all of the fish on top of that. Like, that's insane.
That's
you know
how much money that was alone?
That's what I was going to say. Koi fish are
50-year-old koi. Because he didn't pay attention. And the amigos, amigos are amigos, right? Covered it and smothered it.
Goodness gosh.
But if they would have done a fire sale, it's amazing. But a lot of stuff walked out the door. A lot of stuff walked out the back door because when she started dumping stuff, I mean, Liv was like, but this is, this painting is in the trash.
Like literally just everything. She was like, wow.
And they got to the point because they brought in one of the big dumpsters that you walk into. I would go up in there and just look for anything. And then it got to the point where, lock it.
So I was very good friends with Steve Martinez, who worked up in the archives, You
still talk to him?
So no, he won't talk to me now. He won't talk to anybody, but he was always telling me what was going on. And when he got fired, he called me.
He was, yes.
Well, yeah, because he was very close with Hef.
He thought he was going to be the last one.
Well, yeah. And then they wouldn't even let him say goodbye to Hef. Nothing. I mean, so he was keeping me informed of everything that was going on within the company and whatnot. So I started,
He was my connection.
Because
I'm the historian. He knew that. And I would give him items that I would get from my Hollywood stuff. I was giving him prints and printing and stuff like that. And he'd say, oh, Dan, this guy came in. You should see what I have in the archives. And I'm like, what? So this guy did years worth of work on the history of the mansion and the Chicago mansion.
Yeah.
I've said toss it. Because if it didn't have anything to do, he wouldn't toss it. Kept on feeding me information.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So I knew all the stuff that was there that he would tell me about. So when I had to sit down with the lawyers from corporate because I wouldn't sign the last NDA, and they said, okay. if that's what the book you're working on, we'll give you the green light.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell him, I said, no, I know what's in the archives. That Amanda doesn't know what's in the archives.
Mm-hmm.
That's because Steve told me.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go through the archives and look at
No.
everything there.
Mm-mm.
So everything I needed for because I had a contract with 2 publishers with History Press in Arcadia. They said, not unless I can get the foundation photos.
Yeah.
But they would say, we don't have those photos. Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, you do.
And of course, when he got fired.
Well, and he got so fucked because he got COPD from the mold that was in the house, and he never smoked. He never did anything like that, and then he got COPD, and then none of his medical was taken care of, and then they fired him and like gave him a plaque for like the worker of the week or something, and then said you're fired. Yeah, I think ultimately that's why Steve stopped talking to everybody, because it broke his heart. Number one, it shattered him, as it should be, and then he got so sick, and he cut off all for years. When I was starting this, I was like trying to get in touch with him, and he just not a.
I always waited for him to show up for the reunion, but he never. Anyway, but then when that all fell apart, pictures they required 200 to 250 pictures per book. I couldn't get 5. You
couldn't get 5?
No, and that's a deep rabbit hole. That's a deep rabbit hole when you try to find pictures of anything around the world that was made. Doesn't matter if it's World's Fair from 1800s to you can't find photos.
Really?
The only photo I found of that 1926 house was. I know that you're talking about the one up on the hill.
Yeah.
No, there's a one that was in a newspaper. It was just a scaffolding. So that was a ploy that governments all around the world did. They put scaffolding up on existing buildings. Here are pictures of us building the building.
Interesting.
There's no pictures of Playboy. That's only 26. That's not that long ago.
No, it's not. I found that odd too, why there was not more pictures of it.
Buildings they claim they build in a year, and you go back and you start studying, like there weren't even trucks built then. There was no power tools then. Well, part of my trying to find out any photos of that house, especially when there's amazing things being built. That was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Starting Home Hills, it was the only place there.
Yeah, there should be a lot more documentation about that.
The house was built in 1926. I don't know.
Was the mansion haunted?
No.
Okay.
And I used to have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It was all over that property.
Yeah.
And remember, a lot of the time, I'm the only one on the property.
Right.
For such a lively home that was never dark and always lively, to walk around all that property and you're the only one.
Yeah, that's got to feel weird.
And it's dark.
Yeah.
I'm walking through the house and it's all lights out. There's no lights. It's dark. If there was going to be hauntedness, I'm down in the basement, no lights.
Yeah.
Go down with the flashlight in the basement with no lights.
Yeah.
3 a.m.
I hate that you had to see the mansion though, what it turned into, because that's not something I would ever want to see. I just want to remember how it was. I have
tons of pictures in it.
You showed me a few at Mark's, and I was like, I don't want to see anymore. It hurts my heart.
It was so weird to be in a silent house.
Yeah.
And if it's 2, 3 in the morning, it's silent, and the birds aren't even making.
Right. It's like dead. It's soulless.
Dead.
Yeah.
Dead. But there's no. Just like when I first got there. Arthur Letz's daughter jumped from that balcony, and she's the one that haunted the house.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard. There was
a
woman.
Had a daughter. You could have said, "Did Arthur Letz ever have a daughter?"
Oh my gosh, how interesting!
So I used to tease some of them that were sure that it was haunted there. I'd hide behind doors and jump out.
Scare people. That's great.
I was there for so long at night, and even when Hep was alive, I'm still there walking all over the property at 2, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. It's like aliens. Oh, I see. So they picked the middle of Wyoming, and the alien ship landed, and then confiscated you and a cow. Yeah. It's like, no, everybody's got a phone. Where's all the Bigfoot pictures? Everybody's got a phone. So the problem with history is technology destroys lies.
Mm-hmm.
And so the liars panic, and the liars either alter their lies or find other excuses. Because you go down history, and you can almost be sure that virtually everything you've been told is a lie. Almost everything.
That's wild.
You have to have the Constitution or the desire, or just be one of those people that hate being lied to, and you go down rabbit hole. So I had to go down the mansion. I'm like, no photos of 1926 house. Okay, this guy started Westwood, brought UCLA, owned Bullock's Broadway, did all this stuff, and he's building this great mansion on the top of a hill of nothing. And you got that one picture, right? There was no press or photographers or newspapers.
Yeah, right.
They were everywhere.
That's so true.
And
interesting.
Dark and dirty. Yeah, no, it's not haunted. If it was, then I'm the most unlucky person in the world that never seen it.
I forgot to say it. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and all the background on the mansion is super interesting, the historical aspect. So first question, 3 words that define Hugh Hefner to you.
3 words. Can I conjoin words?
Sure.
1 word is Javier. Have you ever heard of Javier? Okay, there's a word called Javier.
What is it?
And there's a word called Caken. Have you ever heard of Caken? And there's another word called eat it too. Have your cake and eat it too.
Have your cake and eat it too.
His whole life.
Yeah.
He was able to do what every man is. You want to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Okay, honey. So you move next door. You watch my kids. I got my girls here. You go stay up there down with my friends. My daughter, well, it really looks good. You run the company. I get my cake. I don't care about the world outside. I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And so if every man could. You watch my kids. Yeah, I stay next door.
Yeah.
You run my company in Chicago, Christy.
Yep.
He cake and eat it.
You're exactly. I love that. I'm looking at. I'm like Javier. I don't.
Javier. I love
Have
it.
your cake. And you know what? I still do things. I think about him all the time because I like say a historian.
Yeah.
You learn from the older folks. There's a reason why he got to where he was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not just success, like things you do in life. Like, yeah, I want to do that. So
I mean, absolutely. He designed his life exactly like he wanted to live it. And
why does he do that? Because he can.
Because he can.
He doesn't want to go outside. He doesn't want to go to the Kentucky Derby. That's the PR department saying, get out there.
Yeah.
Cannes Film Festival. He didn't want to go to the Cannes Film Festival.
No.
Yeah.
In general, he had his cake and he ate it too.
Just
in all things.
And second question, had you had the opportunity to see Hef or say anything to him before he passed, what would you say?
I was going to thank him.
Yeah. That's always the answer.
Is it?
It's just thank you. Yeah. Thank you for including me on this journey.
And some did.
Yeah.
Some did. I did.
Thank you so much, Dan. What a privilege to hear just pieces of.
Well, thank you. There's tons.
We're part of that history, we're all part of that history. So it is fun.
Lots of pieces. And there's so much, you can grab the valet guys, their stuff.
It's an endless list.
Every department has their stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you.
Bye-bye.
Peace.